Okay, hola all. Welcome back to Soul Mechanics. Please step in, be seated. So, as it happens, it seems we find ourselves in a precariously delicate situation wherein I feel as though I need to be explaining ourself as concerns the content of the prior two videos, two clips, one video, two parts, technically, wherein we did a second interview with Jeremy Allen, and he went absolutely crazy off the deep end. But it's not really the scenario that we found ourselves in. Jeremy seemed to have been speaking from the perspective of the one soul of the God, like as though channeling the universe sort of thing, channeling the God entity. Now, this does happen, and it's not really a matter of gaining access or becoming, adjoined with some greater self. It's actually a matter of eliminating pieces of yourself that get in the way of it. Now, of course, we're considering all of this entirely hypothetical, right? This is just, this is what we're theorizing as concerns the situation. Psychonauts especially, but people who traverse the ether, the psychic realms, people who are, exploring, investigating the self, they're going to find this from time to time. This phenomenon does occur. It occurs for me regularly, especially when I'm doing the extremity deprivation experiments. When your immediate self, your person, your character is removed from play, that sort of ego death as they call it, that one soul, it's there. That God character is there. Now, of course, in the case of, say, for example, speaking with Jeremy here, that God character can speak to you, as though it's speaking from source. Again, this hypothetical, it could be derangement. It could be totally crazy, but for the most part, what we're considering it, what we see it as being, is actually lucidity. It's eliminating the crazy part of you. However, it doesn't ever really come through completely, in the sense that it's always filtered to some extent or another, and usually it's going to be filtered through religion. Most especially in Jeremy's case, it's going to be filtered through religion, wherein he's speaking to me and he's telling me deep, concerning truths about reality, about myself, about you, about the world, about life. But when he does it, when he speaks, it's kind of like he's speaking on behalf of the God entity, but the God entity that we find in the Bible. He's going to use terminology like my son and shit like that, and speak to you as though he's God the Father. These are aspects of that archetype. But that archetype does exist deep down within you, and you can technically access it by removing the pieces of you that are blocking it. And this happens sometimes with psychedelics. It happened with Jeremy largely because we were actually boosting him greatly. We were sending, our people were sending a lot of energy his way. I mean, we had, I think, 10 or more groups, some of them with 50 to 100,000 people in them, all queued up to feed him energy for the sake of dissuading that hurricane, which I haven't checked into that yet. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it hit the Bahamas maybe, or it hit Florida at least, but I don't know. It touched down, I know that much, and we're going to have to check into what kind of, the extent of the damage that occurred. But hopefully we did a fairly decent job at minimizing that damage, and that's what we're trying to do. Now, anybody watching who's involved with this or wants to be, give energy to Jeremy Allen and to Dawn Coppins. They're both on the front line down there, and they're helping us fight. They're set up to fight this and minimize damage and support anybody that's been hurt or damaged or put out by it. So, support the effort. All you have to do is give it thought, give it feeling, put forth an intention to help these people. So, to conclude my explanation, that does in fact happen, and we're going to treat it with the respect that it innately deserves. I mean, you could consider him to be entirely crazy there, but listen to what he's saying. Take it to heart. Think about it. Have those values in play as you go about your life. I promise you, every one of you, if you take those values to heart, if you consider what he said, when we speak to this first-person spectacle, as I stated in the video, and I've stated many times before, like we're reading the Bible, if you read it from a first-person perspective, that first-person perspective, just remove all of the filters that you have in play. Remove any considerations you have that were given to you from elsewhere, and just consider it from your perspective, as though there is no time in play, there is no space in play, there's no other people in play. It's just your immediate consideration of it, first person. And you'll find astounding truths. And I'm going to use this as an example to explain that, and I'm also going to suggest that if you watch that video or you watch it later, hear him from that first person perspective. Remove the considerations that, hey, this guy might be crazy. Remove the considerations that he's on some kind of a drug. Remove the considerations that he's some other person you don't know. Remove all of that. Just hear what he's saying and take it to heart from your perspective as concerns your personal situation. I promise every one of you there's going to be value in it for you. And as you go throughout your daily life from there on, those values are going to apply to scenarios that you run into. The world will present you scenarios to illuminate that, to elucidate that fact. Just watch. Try to play the game from that first person perspective. Forget about any considerations you have as regards his personality or my personality or anything having to do with it. Just think about what he's saying and watch. The world will provide you instances that concern it, that apply it. So that's, as I said, or as I'm going to have stated in this video's title, threading the needle here. Now that's a very, very delicate scenario where you have to explain that, because people do not want to believe that, and it's a frightening scenario because some of the things that this God character will say are very, very frightening. They touch at the core of our reality, and they give way to a substance beneath the surface that is a bit more than most people are willing to handle. It places the responsibility solely in your hands. In this case, the responsibility of deciding what you're going to think about it, what you're going to believe about it. If you decide that you're going to take that at face value and consider it to be the actual God character speaking directly to you from the video, that places a lot of responsibility in your lap, and it presents an immediate challenge that can be overwhelming. But I believe in every one of you guys. I believe that you can manage it. And as stated, I do believe that it is this God character speaking. It's speaking through all of us all the time. It's speaking through the world around you. It's always communicating with us. If you can find a way, perhaps through psychedelics, through meditation, whatever, to remove yourself from the equation, it will speak through you, to you, as you. So, I thoroughly believe that is the case. Of course, as I said, though, it's filtered through his personality to a certain extent. It's always going to be filtered to some extent or another. If it were to come through entirely clearly, I think it would probably reveal a little too much about ourselves. Perhaps it's hidden for a reason. As he said, appearances are deceiving, and they're that way for a reason. So, as I stated in the description, just take it with a grain of salt, but do give it the respect that it deserves. He, as an operative of the initiative, and as a human being, as a decent human being, deserves a certain degree of respect. And though the things that he says may come across crazy, they are applicable. They're useful values. Make use of it. So we're gonna, as I said, with any report, we're going to consider it to be hypothetical for the time being, and we're going to evaluate it in regards to other reports that we get in the future. Booker, if you're watching, I'm waiting on your report. We need you to do an interview for the channel, a trip report, really just to cement the relationship that we have here with this project. We need to present ourselves in that manner. Spirit Lightbody, Chance Forward, I would love for you to do an interview for the channel on a trip report that you have. You seem to have a lot of good shit to say in that regard. And then also, we now have aboard Miss Merovingian's back, Norianne. She's going to be with us shortly. Her internet's out at the moment, but she's going to be with us shortly. We have Randy on the scene. We've got Casey on the case. And we are now working, again, getting the title, Threading the Needle. We're in a very delicate situation right here with a few other channels, particularly one called Trip Whip that I'm trying to get through to. He hasn't responded yet, but he's got everything along the same lines as us, so the values line up. He's going to work with us eventually. But 434 has responded. He's into it. He's actually a friend, so he's into it. He's going to jump aboard with this shortly. And Proving Demons is another one that they responded. They haven't said yes to it yet, but it seems like they're into it. So we got to have a solid presentation. We got to, provide them a presentation that's worthwhile of jumping aboard. So that's going to be Booker, Chance, and Dre. We need you guys all to do an interview here. Dre, we got that young lady Gina hooked up for us to do a collaborative interview with her. Could be on your channel, but we do need one on this channel for the official report. And that's what we're doing with this Gina. This Gina woman is a report that she's going to have. So I'm going to say we probably have to do it on this channel, but we can do a two-parter, one for your channel. I do want to get some support for your channel, and for Chance's channel, I want to boost you guys, build you up, get you a bigger audience. Obviously, I don't have an enormous audience yet, but we're getting there. Dre's got a pretty decent audience. When I get to 100 people, we're at 91 now. When I get to 100 plus people, I'll be very proud of what we're doing. For now, we're fighting to get there, and we're going to fight to get everybody else up too. When we start dealing with these bigger channels, particularly 434, we're going to get a huge boost from that. All of us. We're going to get a lot of play, because this channel is going to get a lot of play. It's going to get traffic from that. Obviously it's going to get a lot of traffic from that, but I'm also going to direct that traffic to you guys. So we're all going to benefit from this. We just need to work together. So everybody that I've been speaking to here, we do need to get those interviews done for this channel so that we have that presentation to provide to these bigger channels and get them on board. Now, this video obviously is going to be in the Principal Dynamics playlist, and the reason for that being that I spoke to this first-person perspective. That's how you're going to want to treat everything. You're going to want to try to. It's very difficult. It's not only difficult to achieve this level of being, to achieve this state of being, but it's difficult to live with that state of being. Now, anybody who has been to the never, as we called it, anybody who's hit the wall, so to speak, gotten to the boundary, and sort of returned, as I stated, you don't ever actually return from there. There's a part of you that's always there, and it's very difficult to live with that, but it's a challenge that is it's an undertaking worth taking under, because you do need to accept a certain level of responsibility, as stated, a heavier level of responsibility, but you do want that responsibility. That challenge it's the ultimate challenge, and it's the ultimate rush. You are rewarded for doing it. Believe me, you're heavily rewarded for doing it. It may not seem like it on the surface from the outside, but within, I have never felt better in my life. This is, you guys, everything we're doing, it's made me feel like I could cry from how fucking proud of all of us I feel, and how proud of this endeavor I feel. I am crying now. But it lights up your life. It lights up everything. And I think this is the point of playing the game. Somebody posted a question in one of the groups. I think it was our Ancient Mysticism group. That's an older one. They've been with the network since the beginning. If anybody wants to check them out, it's a cool group. Someone posted, what makes you want to live in a world that's so unjust and cruel, or something like that, something similar to that. And the answer is purpose. No matter what you call it. One woman said that she lives for her kids. One man said that he lives for his faith. You know, it's purpose. The value there presented. If you're living for your children, they are your purpose. If you're living for your religion, it is your purpose. Whatever it is that you're pressing on for in this, and this world is rough. This world is really rough. We lighten it up. We become desensitized to the reality of it, but not just the actual surface world that we live in and just playing the game in general, but the deeper realities to it. It's very, very rough, this place. But we undertake that challenge and we press on because of purpose. That's the value in play that gives us the power that we need to be here at all and to present ourselves as these characters. It's much easier not to present. Trust me, it's much easier to return to scratch and be that first person on your own, with that sense of aloneness and isolation. I can't say it's easier. It's very difficult to. There's no relativity in play there once you're in that dimension, that perspective. Once you're in the never, there's no relativity in play anymore. So there's no way for me to say it's easier one way or the other. But it's easier to let go, to hold on to this shit, to play this game, to be this character, and to play through it the way that we do. That's the tough shit, and that's what makes us tough. And so that's why, obviously, this is going to be in the Principal Dynamics playlist, because the Principal Dynamics playlist is devoted to our playing of the game and how to do it. The mechanisms in play and us building this magical technology that we are building with Soul Mechanics in general and with the network overall. We are working together to build something lasting, and that's our purpose. And no matter what any of you think or feel at any point, you have that purpose underlying, beneath it all, you have that foundation in play, and you can rely on that. And if you need anything, anybody you need anything, I'm here, our people are here. Don't anybody ever think that you're in any way alone in any of this, and don't ever think that you're lacking in anything that might feed that might put fuel in your engines. You have this purpose always. You are all operatives of this initiative, and we are all working together. And if you can manage to play from that perspective, if you can manage to keep that kind of on a back burner, where you always have that available, where you can look around at the world and scratch yourself and say, this is what's happening now, here, nowhere. If you can manage to pull that off in times of need, you're going to see the world speaking to you and providing values and instances, aspects that are going to play into your immediate situation and give you all the answers you need. So basically what we're saying here is you have a purpose and you do have backup. Always. It's with you, no matter what. If you need if you need a person to back you up, I'm here for you. So that's that for now. We need to get together and bust a little ass on getting this presentation ready for the bigger channels, because once we pull them in, that's it. We're at the point of no return. It's going to be a downhill battle from there. We're going to snowball at that point. We're all going to get huge benefits from it. I know that it's kind of, I saw Demi, our old friend Demi from Anti-Ordinary, she did a video talking about social climbers and people who just use each other for, to get subscribers and shit. I kind of feel like that's happening sometimes, with me at least, that I'm working with you guys because I want to get this thing bigger and I want to reach a bigger audience. But I'm not going to feel bad about that, because I do love you guys. I feel as though we're friends, we're family already, even those I just met. I feel as though we're friends, we're family, we have a future together, it's already there. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all want to get bigger, we all want to make a bigger difference, we all want to do better at this, we want to build something big and strong and great. And so that's what we're doing, and it's nothing wrong with using each other for that. We all need to be using each other, we all need to be playing together, we all need to be working together on this. So let's get it done. We need to get this presentation in play. for this channel, for Soul Mechanics, once it gets a boom from the bigger channels that I'm bringing on, that's going to go directly to you guys. First thing, I'm going to send it out to you. We're all going to benefit from this. We just need to get it done. So, love you guys. Thank you for watching. Hila Salai, Terbiuni Siari. Namaste.